Donald Trump's victory in Arizona was not enough to send staunch ally Kari Lake to the halls of Washington. CBS News is now projecting Democratic Congressman Ruben Gallego has won that state's Senate race. Gallego will fill Kyrsten Sinema's seat and will become the first Latino senator from Arizona. Let's bring in our own Ed O'Keefe, who spoke with the senator-elect. Hey, Ed, good to see you. So walk us through your conversation with Senator-elect now, Gallego.
Caitlin, good to see you. Look, this is a big contest that was closely watched and obviously was one of the last pieces to fall into place for the Senate. We're still waiting for the results from Pennsylvania, but Gallego was projected the winner last night by the networks, held a victory rally in Phoenix, got on the red eye, as you and I have taken before, back here to Washington. He got on that same exact flight to be here for orientation this afternoon here at the Capitol. And when he was able to take a break, we talked to him about how he pulled this off. Take a listen.
We did what we knew we had to do, which is we had to go everywhere, talk to everybody. We had to make sure that we, spoke to our Republican friends, our independent friends, made sure that, Latino voters that I knew were disaffected or feeling like they were being left behind were approached properly, and we talked to them in the way that I knew how to talk to them from growing up. And we just did it, and we did it over 23 months, over and over and over again. And we really had to get out of the kind of box of how we did things, so that we really went to people where they were, because the traditional way of reaching out to many of them was just not working, or at least I had seen it's not working.
Let's walk through some of that. First of all, there's been a lot said and written in the last week about the fact that your party lost a majority of Latino men. A lot of the people doing this talking aren't Latino men. Mm-hmm. You are, and you won. How did you do it? What did Democrats do wrong to lose their support?
Well, a lot of what I did was based on what I knew growing up. And so I grew up, very working class. My mom's secretary, raised us 4 kids alone. I grew up around construction sites, kitchens, working, different jobs with my cousins, with my uncles. And what I did was I realized everything I learned from these guys growing up was the same that a lot of these Latino men are doing now. And so, for example, one of the things that we did when I used to leave construction sites, I would go to watch boxing matches back in the day with my uncles, right? The good old Julio Cesar Chavez days, Oscar de la Hoya days, if you're Puerto Rican, Trinidad, all these guys, right? And I realized it was always kind of a very familial, awesome kind of family thing that all the men would get together to watch. And so with the Canelo fights coming up every 2, and I'm a big boxing fan. I know that Canelo fights twice a year, and I had an election for 23 months. I'm like, we're going to get a couple bites of this apple. So I would put some events around there where I invite men after coming to work to come watch this boxing match. And we didn't talk politics. It was just for them to basically get to know me. I brought my family, brought my son. Put on some gloves, threw a little at the back, caught my son a little jab here and there. And, it was a way, again, for us to, reach out. I mean, the other areas we did is, we did, carne asadas. If you're, especially Mexican, a carne asada, a good old carne asada where you bring your whole family together, your community together, and you just, hang out and just enjoy each other's companies. We even had a banda there, and everybody was singing, and it was a way really for us to talk and be community-minded without actually talking about politics. And, this is a way, again, that, for a lot of men, especially Latino men, you work very hard. You don't have time to do political stuff. Whatever you have time to do, you just want to enjoy with your family. So we try to make that happen, because that's exactly what I remember growing up.
Sounds like you had to take politics to non-political spaces.
You had to take politics to people that hated politics and are disconnected from it. And also don't feel great right now. And, there's, growing up working class, there's nothing more hurtful than working hard and then not being able to provide for your family. And I instinctively knew that's what these men were going through, because I talked to them, but also I remember kind of living that myself.
And it seems like there are members of your party who forgot that or don't know it, or weren't listening to those voters?
I can't speak for anybody else. Like, I know at least for us, for when I started this campaign, I was quite intentional and how I said we need to talk to these men, because in many ways I'm still them. I still remember trying to figure out how to make it to work, knowing how much money was in my wallet, or just getting excited about having overtime pay so I could pay my extra bills. And to hear them talk about the feeling that they're just not making it anymore really told me something, because any Latino man always believes that they can work themselves out of a problem. Like, if I don't have enough money for a car, I'll just work extra hours. I can't afford the down payment from the house, I'll take on another job. This is the first time I've ever seen men say, like, I can't do this. I can't keep working, and it's still not making a difference. And that's when I realized that there was kind of a problem.
Hearing that from voters in your state and looking at the campaign that Donald Trump ran and Kamala Harris ran, are you surprised that she lost Latino men?
I think it was the transition was not long enough for her to communicate her message. I did see it actually having an effect, but it was the especially Latino voters were looking at the administration and not necessarily at her plans, because her plans were good for Latino men, but they were still hurting. They still felt the sting of not being able to provide for their family.
So notable, Caitlin, that he says Kamala Harris didn't have enough time to make the case, but was in the process of doing so. Maybe if she'd had more time, she would have pulled it off. A lot there, and you'll see more of it tonight on the Daily Report tomorrow morning on CBS Mornings, regarding how it is this key group of people needs to be sought after by candidates going forward. And as he said, Democrats have no choice but to seek their support, because without Latino votes, you cannot be a national party. And the other thing, Caitlin, is kind of interesting. If you think about the changing nature of Congress, come January, once he's in office, you can draw a line from Texas through New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada to California. All of those states will have at least one Latino senator.
Wow, that is quite a feat there. And Ed, as much as we talk about national politics and the national landscape and the national mood, that interview kind of suggests what he was saying is sometimes you just really have to do the work in your communities to actually reach those people. So a lesson for Democrats across the country. Ed O'Keefe, that's a great interview. We'll look forward to more on all of our platforms. We'll see you soon, friend.